We were invited to a hands-on preview for Guardians of the Galaxy. The game is of course coming out October 26th already. We got new gameplay that you see right here. And I was able to interview the developers, see some presentations. And Joyce, you actually got to play the game, right?
Yes!
So I want to ask you about your experience and what you played, if you liked it. And we also got some interesting info from that interview that I want to share in this video too. And this is just an early chapter, so no big story spoilers whatsoever. And the footage is recorded on PS5 in the 4K 30 FPS mode, but there's also a 60 FPS mode if you want. Okay, let's get into it. If you of course want to help the channel in any way, then leaving a like on the video would really be appreciated. And let's go. We are doing a Guardians of the Galaxy Deluxe Edition giveaway. And you can enter via the link in the pinned comment. And you have to be a subscriber of the channel before you enter, and good luck.
So the demo started in Chapter 5 of the game on the Milano after the Guardians just dealt with Lady Hellbender, which we saw in a previous story trailer. And their next destination is the Rock, which is a Nova Corp facility where they need to pay off their fine, which got mentioned in the first gameplay demo. Before that, I could explore around the ship, which has like a lot of things you can interact with. You got the workbench to get some abilities with the resources you found throughout the game. And there are various objects from the Guardians to find that triggers a conversation with that certain character about their backstory. It's all very detailed, gotta be honest. And entering the Rock here, the Guardians find the place completely deserted. But the Milano does get picked up by automatic machinery, so they have to find some way to get their ship back and to pay the fine. Oof. During this moment, Rocket reacts, and you can respond to that by a timed choice. And you can also ignore it, like right there, there's a silent option. While exploring the Rock, you slowly find out why the place looks empty. There were some little puzzles, such as opening a malfunctioning door, for example, by using your elemental guns, or asking another character for help to get further. At a certain moment, Drax finds a Nova Corp helmet, and while Star-Lord puts it on his head, he hears some chatter, figuring out the place isn't as deserted as it seems. Now here came a major choice moment. Or you stayed silent and didn't communicate with the voice on the channel, or you decided to talk to figure out who's talking through the comms. Now in my playthrough I chose to say nothing and explored further and eventually figured out that the Nova Corp soldiers that were still on the Rock were held at gunpoint. And because I was silent, they didn't know that we were here. So I could approach them silently and had more opportunities to surprise them. In the B-roll, however, Star-Lord chose to say something, which let the enemy know they were here and basically waited for the Guardians to surprise them instead of the other way around. So this major choice had an impact on combat, which is really cool and can give you like an advantage.
And we got Drax jumping through a window, right?
Yeah, of course he had to.
Because of this choice, because you did not see this.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea this could happen.
That's pretty cool. And I asked the directors about the impact of choices like over the course of the game. And basically how they described it is that we of course know that the ending will be the same for everyone, but the journey to that ending will be different depending on these types of choices. Like, there's also a part where you come across a prisoner. In the B-roll, we got Star-Lord just ignoring the prisoner, but you chose to talk to the person, right?
Yeah, that's right. I decided to like open the door where the sound was coming from and could talk with the prisoner who could give me some more information about the current situation before exploring further. I had like 2 choices to choose, like to ask about Nova Corps, about something else. And you can also interact with the door of his cell, which can lead to some surprises while moving forward. I won't spoil what it is.
And you can encounter that character later on too. Well, if you ignore him, he won't be there. And I was in particular interested about maybe Guardians leaving your party because of the choices you make. Like throwing Rocket, as we saw in the first gameplay, makes him of course angry. But that notification is more to let players know that this will trigger a reaction from Rocket later on. It's not that all your actions stack on top of each other, which can cause Rocket to, for example, leave you altogether. We should not worry about stuff like that. The Guardians will always be together, unless there are twists and turns in the story that can cause some characters to be absent. But doesn't seem like we can influence that. So that's good to know. And I was just overall curious, how are your feelings now after having played the game? I'm especially curious about the combat. Like, did you enjoy that part of it?
Yeah, so starting out with the narrative part, they have put so much detail into that. I mean, maybe even a bit too much, because like exploring the Milano, for example, you can interact with the Guardians who are just doing their own thing, and you can improve your relationship with them. And some objects that I interacted with even led to some casual reacts, like the juke box where Gamora is just commenting on the song I was about to choose.
I'll pass. I already checked the cupboard.
I mean, I'd love that, but every time I picked up an object just to investigate it, a conversation triggered, which got kind of annoying at a certain point because, you know, it's a demo and you didn't get all day to play, so I didn't want to spend too much time on talking. I would do that in my own time, you know? Also, on the Rock, there are some secret conversation opportunities, and during combat, they are reacting to some special moves and surprises. It made me think of Mass Effect mixed with Life is Strange in a way. Now, speaking of combat, I have to be honest, I was a bit overwhelmed by it. I mean, we got to watch a tutorial video beforehand about how everything works, but being dropped in Chapter 5 did not help much. Practice is perfect, of course, but when a lot of things are happening at the same time on the screen, you sometimes don't know how to prepare your next move properly. I did like figuring out how to use the variety of abilities of the Guardians on each type of enemy and eventually knowing which to use on who. That made it a lot easier. And I also love the finishers that trigger sometimes that shows some teamwork. Star-Lord also has a team boost mechanic called the Huddle, where he speech out lyrics of different songs to boost up their motivation. It can also fail if you don't pick the right words to say, but Star-Lord does get the boost no matter what. We don't have any footage of this sadly, but I can assure you it's a funny mechanic.
Yeah, I think it's good to note that the idea is not to make a deep RPG. In my interview, it was noted that by the last 3/4 of the game, you're probably going to have everyone maxed out before you face the final challenge. You can choose to focus on one character first, though, so unlock all the abilities with that character. Like Gamora does the most damage, so maybe it's smart to unlock her abilities first. But it's really up to you, and then by the end, you have unlocked everything anyways. And every Guardian also has a special ability that is noted with a question mark in the menu, and this unlocks by just playing through the campaign. So because of character growth, you get that ability, and for Groot, it's a revive, so you don't have to start all over when you die. But you did not have that unlocked yet, right?
No, which kind of sucks because that would have been really helpful. Either way, there were 3 abilities available for each character to buy with points, and the 4th one was indeed hidden. However, in the B-roll, where the combat happens on the same location as the demo, you can see all 4 abilities being available, which leads me to believe that this must be captured in New Game Plus, right?
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that, because New Game Plus will be available at the launch of the game, which I really like. You, of course, unlock it after finishing the game, so you can then replay the whole story with all your unlocks and make different choices, for example. But that is it in terms of post-game stuff. Like after the credits, you go back to the menu immediately. There's no exploration or no special endgame bosses. You can also select a chapter though that you want to replay after completing that chapter, also like before finishing the game. And this will be nice for collectibles and outfits you might have missed, because all the outfits are hidden in chests in different levels. So if you did not get them the first time around, you can go back to get them that way. And yes, the MCU outfits are hidden in chests too. So exploration in that sense will be really rewarded. And we will of course have way more Guardians coverage as we get close to launch and beyond. Thanks, Joyce, of course, for sharing your impressions after playing.
Yeah, no problem. It's really fun to discuss this with you too.
Yeah, maybe more in the future. So subscribe to miss nothing. A like on the video again would really help us out. And you can watch raw gameplay of the mission that Joyce played by clicking on the screen. For now, we will speak to you next time, and goodbye.
Goodbye.